What is up, guys? It's your boy Segi Trades. Today we are going to be going over my A+ setup. It actually occurred a couple times today on Silver, NQ, and ES, I believe. So I had overall green day. My break-even accounts, or my copy trade accounts, were break-even. And I had a new XFA that went for, I think, like 5 point something K. So let's get right into the video, guys. Alright, as you guys can see, this is a new XFA. Let me go into the stats real quick so you guys see it. 5.2K today, and then my copy trade accounts, they were break even. I think I made like 13 bucks. So my trade setup, I trade a lot of liquidity concepts. No, I didn't learn it from ICT. I watched some of TJR's videos, but it's not his strategy. I kind of adapted everybody's strategy into one that I trade. But yeah, I'm not gonna show you on Topstep X because I have a lot of stuff on here. I'm gonna show you how I go from an empty chart to what I'm looking at, and basically how I set everything up for my A+ setup trade. I do mark everything on TradingView, and then I also mark it on Topstep X. But for this reason, I'm gonna just replay everything. I'm gonna just replay everything from today, so you guys can see kind of what I was looking at or looking for. So let me go back to like right here. All right. So first things first, First step in my setup is I'm looking at hourly liquidity. So if you don't know how to chart liquidity, I will show you in a few, but look at this chart and tell me if you can identify the liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity in this chart right here. So if you guys can't see it, I'm gonna go ahead and mark it up for you so you guys can. I like to do the top side green and then the bottom side red. We are kind of like at all-time highs, so there's a lot of liquidity down here. There's some like right here. These are equal lows. That could be a potential target some other day. But basically, it's just the very highs and the very lows. Another equal lows right here. And basically, all I do, my chart always has liquidity on it. And it's kind of weird right now because I'm in replay, but my chart always has liquidity levels on it. It has multiple. I only use the hourly liquidity. so yeah, and I only trade liquidity during like London session to New York session. I don't trade it during the Asian session because it just doesn't work. But yeah, so I'm drawing out all my liquidity. There's some right here. There's some here. There's some here. And this is actually one that I think gets swept. This is 2 a.m. London, so I wasn't awake by that time. I usually trade like 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Eastern time. But yeah, so basically I draw out my liquidity. If you don't know how to draw or spot liquidity, it's so simple. Just go on TradingView and find this indicator. It's ICT liquidity HL. You turn this on, and let me erase this so you guys can kind of see it. This is what it looks like. Basically, it has a little line that tells you where the liquidity is on the hourly. I mean, it also shows you on like the 15-minute and like the 30-minute, but I only draw hourly liquidities. I don't do 4 hours. Sometimes I do daily, but dailies most of the time just correspond to like the hourly. Alright, so that's the first step. We have our liquidity levels drawn out. Next thing, we just look for a sweep of these levels. So let's let it play out for a little bit. Let me turn this off until it's like New York. Alright, so this is sorry, I was looking at the wrong day, guys. So okay, so this is, let's redraw the liquidity, and I'm always redrawing my liquidity levels if they get swept or touched or touch is crazy. But yeah, so basically I'm just drawing them every day. Before I start trading, I just redraw all my levels. So this is, what is this? 6 a.m. Let's do 1. Alright, so this is 7 a.m. So, alright. Oops. Well, I should have. Here, let's go back a little bit. Sorry, guys. So around this point, it's like 7. I start trading around 7, 8 o'clock. So at this point, I see that this level's getting close. So what I like to do is automatically get on the 1 minute and just wait for the level to basically get swept or pushed through or tapped or whatever. So we wait for this to push up, and it should do it in a second. Let's do this. Let's wait for it. Here I'm just getting, and I actually didn't take this trade because I was in the silver trade, which I would show you guys in a second. But this is a trade that I would have taken. So we're waiting. I think it happened at market open too. That's why I didn't. Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't take it, because it was right at market open. But basically, look, this was one of our levels. It literally pushed beyond like 2-3 points, created a fair value gap right here, which once I see this fair value gap close, or once I see this candle close, so it makes this fair value gap, I would wait for price to come back up and then get in. But basically this is, I think it does it go all the way back? No, it didn't on the 1 minute, which I like 1 minute fair value gaps. So this is the second step. After it sweeps a liquidity level, we wait for a fair value gap, which this one created. It also created this one, and it reacted off of this one. It also created a 5 minute fair value gap right here, which you could also taken, but I tend to like the 1 minutes. I like to get in early so I can manage my risk. I'm not risking too much. So basically, this is one of the trades that I would have loved to taken, but I didn't. So I'm gonna show you the vice versa of this trade. So you can see it literally just took out all these levels. So let's go ahead and delete these, because we're also looking, once this trade hits, and the way I would have maybe like set it up was like oops, the way I would have had set it up would be a stop above the high, and then, you know, you can, a lot of people do like set take profits. I don't. I kind of like to scale out at different levels. But for, in this case, you know, you could have chosen any of the liquidity levels that were down here. In this case, I think it goes all the way down here, which is like a 5x trade. But that's very unlikely, so that's why I like to scale out. Maybe at like 1 to 2, I take like half off and stuff like that. But I just want to get to the actual trade that I took. So, alright, there we go. So, alright, so as you guys can see, we swept this area, and now I'm waiting for a fair value gap. And if you guys are asking, oh, why didn't you take the prior liquidity levels that you deleted? Because it swept through multiple, and as soon as it touches another one, I don't care about the previous liquidity. So for example, this was another liquidity that it swept, and as soon it swept here, I'm looking for a reaction around here. But since it pushed all the way down through the next liquidity, this one automatically I don't care about. I'm on the 1 minute, and I'm waiting for the next. So if I would have kept going to this one, I would have not cared about this one, and I would have looked for a trade down here. So in this case, I'm looking for a fair value gap, and I like my fair value gaps above the liquidity sweep. So sometimes I do get in on the sweep, but if I do that, it's very small, and then I add my actual position size once it creates my confirmation or fair value gap. So basically, this is one of the trades I took. I believe that I did get in like 1 or 2 contracts here, and then I waited, and then I got up here. Let me see where my entry was. And so that's my entry right here, fair value gap. And since I got down here, my average was somewhere around here. I believe I was targeting these highs, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a lot of consolidation after this move, so I think I took like maybe $400 or $500. So this was one of the trades I took, and like I said, I do like to scale out, and it's hard to explain because I trade so many ways. I'm looking at everything at once, but this would be an ideal setup. I prefer to take the first sweep and just call it a day, but sometimes it double sweeps a day, and yeah. So this was one of the trades. I don't think it went all the way. It didn't go all the way up like I expected it to, but also we created like a 1 hour. Well, it hasn't created it, but there's a 1 hour like fair value gap that it was reacting off of, and it was acting as resistant. So I believe I took profit somewhere around here, and if I'm not mistaken, I actually had my stop like once I saw it consolidate. I put my stop up because I just didn't like risking too much, and the more it consolidated, the more it drove me nuts. So it was something like this. I had my stop right below these lows. So yeah, it was something like this. I think it breaks out, or I thought it was going to break out, but it was actually a liquidity sweep. Let me see if it shows it. So yeah, as you guys can see, this is the consolidation that I was just making. And I just didn't want to be in this trade for much longer, so I took profit somewhere up here once it broke out a little bit. Yeah, and that almost stopped me out too. So I waited, and I'm gonna show you guys something too that you guys probably weren't aware of. Alright, so I took profit somewhere around here. And why I took profits, because I wanted it to maybe V rally and then go back up to the highs. But I noticed something on my hourly chart. So my hourly chart actually made another liquidity level up here, and it also has a fair 1 hour fair value gap. So it actually swept this area and it reversed. So I took profits and then I reversed my position somewhere. I'll show you. There's a nice fair value gap. Yeah, so right here. So right here. But the thing is, with fair value gaps, me personally, I don't wait for it to come back into it. I like trading like right below it, like somewhere around here. So my ideal position would be stops above the high, and then like a 1 to 2, 1 to 3, something like this. And this was on my copy trade accounts. The silver trade was on my solo account. The trades that I'm showing you were on my copy trade accounts. So this one, I had my take profits here, and I think I have pictures. I put pictures on like Discord that I'm in, and I had my take profit here, but for some reason I moved it a little bit further down, and it actually came right to my take profit, and then it reversed. I'll put the screenshot or whatever up on the screen so you guys can see. But basically, yeah, so I take my trades right below the first fair value gap, below the liquidity sweep. And so I was in around somewhere around here. Yeah, I think like right there was where I was in. And this trade actually went all the way to my TP. I didn't take profit. And then I let it, and then I let it go all the way back against me and stop me out. And that's why I broke even today. So as you guys can see, it almost literally touched my TP. My TP was actually 70.75. But yeah, so that would have been another nice trade on my copy trade accounts that I would have made like 500 on each account, so like a $2,000 day. And then it goes on and stops me out. So that was another trade that I took. And my big trade that I took was on silver, actually. So let me go ahead, let's go back a little bit so you guys can see what I was looking at. So on silver, I don't trade it exactly like I trade NQ. Silver, I'm more cautious on like liquidity levels, so I like using the higher ones, like maybe like a 4 hour, like a daily. But basically silver was almost at all-time highs. It was consolidating here, making a bull flag. I expected it to go up, tap. What I wanted to happen actually happened, which doesn't always happen in trading, but I'm glad it did. So basically I was looking for it to go and touch these low or these highs so I can short it, and that's exactly what happened. So let's go to the 1 minute and show you my $5K trade that I took on my solo account, and I'll put a screenshot up on here so you guys can see. What time is this? This is like 7 something. So we wait, and at this point I'm just waiting. I really wasn't looking to take any trades off of these levels just because I wanted that high to get hit. I really wasn't. I don't really trade silver too often, or gold, but I've had some pretty, like, I'm very picky with those trades. NQ and ES, I'm kind of like more lenient. I can manage my risk and take different types of trades. It doesn't have to be exactly liquidity sweeps. I can take like consolidations, like breakouts and stuff like that. Silver and gold and oil, they act a little different, and I don't trade them too much. But yeah, so here we go. This is my $5,000 trade. So right here, I'm looking at this chart, and that's exactly why I missed this short on NQ, because I was looking at the silver. But I did take the long, and then I took the short, and it just broke even me. So here I'm looking for any sign, and I did kind of anticipate it. I kind of got in early. I know you're not supposed to, but I've been trading for 5 years. I kind of have a feel for the market sometimes. Sometimes it bites me in the ass, but in this case, it did not. So as soon as I saw a little like hesitation, it didn't keep pushing through. That's when I got in. I got in right here in this little consolidation. As soon as I saw a little hesitation, because I knew I wanted to sweep. A sweep usually happens violently. So I got in right here, and literally my stop was right above the high. If you don't know, silver is very tricky, and it is $25 per tick. I had 2 contracts. It was $50 per tick. So I was risking like $450, and then my take profit were these lows down here. Down here, like something like that, like something outrageous, because I just knew it was all-time highs, and I knew if the shorts wanted to short this, they were going to take it low. So basically I shorted, and then I didn't like it until it was below this line and it made a fair value gap. That's what my traditional A+ setup would look like. But I did anticipate it a little bit, so I was kind of like, should I take profits here? Should I not? Because at this point I was up like $1,000 already. But no, I held it. I held it through. I was like, you just stay calm. You don't have to trade emotionally. If you lose, you only lose $450. If you win, you can win big. So, and keep in mind this is a new XFA. So, it's not like it was a old account that I had and I was waiting on payouts, or so it was kind of like just whatever. I have 4 copy trade accounts, like it's whatever. So I took the trade. It made a fair value gap eventually. Right here I was like, okay, I was getting ready to, all right, it's gonna stop me out. Maybe I'll move my stop to break even, but I was like, no, just stick to your plan. You're good, because this is a fair value gap right here. It did react off of it, but I just don't like fair value gaps above the liquidity. I like them below. So I waited, and eventually, and see on silver, I like looking at like 5 minutes. For fair value gaps, or like 3 minutes. The 1 minute can be a little like weird, and it looks weird on the chart sometimes. So I saw this 5 minute fair value gap right here, and this would have been my actual like entry and trade, but I anticipated it a little bit, and it worked out in my favor. Sometimes it bites me in the ass, like I said, but as soon as I saw this react off of it, I was like, let's go. And then it just flushed all the way down. It didn't hit my full TP, because I think I moved my TP to these lows, and then I was going to take one off here. But I don't know, I was up like 5k, 5 point something, and I just didn't want to waste more time on this trade. I know this sounds weird, but I saw NQ was having nice price action, and I actually saw that trade that I missed out on it. So I kind of got FOMO. I wanted to go on NQ, which is what I mostly trade. So I just took it out. I took it out somewhere down here, which I'm glad I did, because it actually reversed back. So let's see. It actually reverses back, but I'll put the screenshots of my trade up here so you guys can see it. But yeah, this is basically it. I just trade liquidity levels, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Liquidity levels, and then I look for fair value gap below the liquidity sweep, and then basically that's it. So if you guys got any more questions, leave them down in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any recommendations, let me know, and always trade for tomorrow. Peace.